You know that feeling. You step onto a new committee, maybe, and suddenly there's this wave of new responsibilities,
Yeah.
especially if finance and reporting are involved.
Oh, absolutely. It can feel like a steep learning curve sometimes.
Yeah, and imagine that within something like the Wesley Guild, with its long history, that whole one way, one heart idea,
Hmm.
it's all about helping young people grow, serve.
Exactly. And stepping into managing the finances for an organization like that, well, it's a significant role. That motto really speaks to unity, and solid financial management is, what helps make that unity practical.
And that's really what this deep dive is all about today. We're talking specifically to the new members of the Wesley Guild Finance Committee, especially those of you managing your own local guild bank account and needing to get to grips with the 4U schedule.
Right. The goal is pretty straightforward. We want to equip you, give you the confidence to handle the guild's finances well, effectively.
So how are we doing that? Well, we're looking at a few key sources. There's the Combined Constitutions 2018 that gives the basic framework how the guild operates.
Hmm. And then there's the governance checklist. That's more about best practices for handling money.
Crucially, we'll be digging into the guidelines for the financial schedules, 4D, 4C, 4S, but especially that 4U schedule.
And overseeing all of this, sort of the big picture, is the Methodist Book of Order. That's the foundational rule book for the whole Methodist Church of Southern Africa, the MCSA.
So think of this as, I guess, your introductory tour of Wesley Guild Finance. We want to empower you so you can ensure transparency, accountability, and really help the guild achieve its mission.
Yeah.
Right? Those 4Cs for Christ: consecration, comradeship, community development, Christian service.
That's the heart of it. So maybe let's start with the foundation, the structure.
Good idea. Where does the Wesley Guild fit in the bigger picture?
Well, first things first, it's vital to remember the Wesley Guild isn't like a totally separate thing. It's very much part of the Methodist Church of Southern Africa, the MCSA. The Constitution makes that connection really clear.
Okay, so it operates within that broader church structure. And its specific aims, they're pretty inspiring, aren't they?
They really are. It's all about helping young people build a relationship with Jesus, connect respectfully with each other, get involved in community development, use their gifts.
Improving life for themselves and others. Yeah.
And the 4Cs we mentioned, that's the strategy, the roadmap for how the Guild actually pursues those aims through its activities.
And who can join?
Basically, any full member of the MCSA who's in good standing, it's open.
Right. Now let's talk money. Specifically at the circuit level, that's the grouping of local societies.
Yeah.
How does the funding usually work there?
Okay, so at the circuit level, the money mainly comes from two places: member subscriptions and specific fundraising activities that have been approved by the Circuit Wesley Guild meeting.
And who looks after that money?
It's a collective responsibility. The whole Circuit Wesley Guild executive administers the funds, but the treasurer obviously plays a very prominent role in the day-to-day management.
So teamwork, but with a key point person. And how do they keep everyone informed? Is there reporting involved?
Oh, definitely. Transparency is key. The Circuit Wesley Guild executive has to submit an annual audited financial statement. It's a must.
Audited.
Yes, and that statement needs to go to the Circuit Youth Council, or whoever represents them, at least once a year. It keeps everyone accountable within the wider church system.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's pivot to what might be the reality for many listening.
Mm-hmm.
Managing finances right at your local guild level, maybe even having your own bank account. This brings us squarely to the 4U schedule. What's its story?
Right, the 4U. The guidelines on how to complete the 4U schedules, that document is going to be your best friend here. The MCO Compliance Unit, that's the Methodist Connectional Office's compliance team, introduced this specific schedule for organizations back in 2016.
Why? What was the goal?
It was really about getting consistent financial reporting across the board, So if you're managing your own bank account locally, submitting this 4U schedule is how you provide that clear snapshot of your guild's financial position. It's essential.
Okay, so if you're a new treasurer, what kind of information does this 4U actually ask for? What do you need to gather?
Well, the schedule itself has 6 sections. It's designed to give a good overview. The front page is particularly important. It's basically a summary statement of your balances.
Balances like bank balance.
Exactly, but drawn from your own records, your cash book, and your ledger as of a specific date. So step 1 is making sure those records are accurate and up to date.
Right. So it's a snapshot based on your internal bookkeeping. What are the really key figures on that summary page?
One of the absolute critical ones is the bank balance. Now listen, this isn't just the number you see on your bank statement printout.
Okay.
It's the figure you get after you've done a proper bank reconciliation statement. comparing your records line by line with the bank's records.
Ah, like balancing your personal checkbook used to be. Making sure your numbers and the bank's numbers match up, accounting for checks not cashed yet, that kind of thing.
Precisely that. It's about identifying any discrepancies, errors, or maybe transactions you missed. That reconciliation process is what ensures the bank balance you report is the actual reconciled balance you have available.
Got it. Accuracy is paramount. What else beyond the balance does the 4U cover?
It also asks for a summarized statement of your income and expenditure over the period. So where did the money come from? Subs, fundraising. And where did it go? Activities, outreach, supplies. It gives that bigger picture of financial flow.
Okay, so let's talk practicalities. Filling this thing out correctly and getting it submitted. Where do people find the step-by-step help?
The main source is that guidelines document we mentioned. Guidelines on how to complete the 4U schedules. It literally walks you through section by section.
Which underscores why you need good records all year, right? It's not just a scramble at the end.
Exactly. It's about consistent financial habit. And also really important, keep all your supporting documents.
Like what? Invoices? Receipts?
Yes, invoices, receipts, bank statements, deposit slips, anything that backs up the numbers you're reporting. Think of it as your audit trail. They might ask to see these during a review, so having them organized is crucial.
Makes sense. Now, the slightly uncomfortable question. What happens if these schedules are late? Or, worse, not submitted at all? Are there consequences?
Yes, there can be. While some guidelines might focus on other schedules like the 4C or 4S, the principle applies. And the Book of Orders, specifically Laws and Discipline, Chapter 9, paragraphs 87 to 90, is clear. Late or missing financial schedules can result in penalties being applied to the circuit's assessments.
So it impacts the wider circuit financially.
Potentially, yes. Think of it this way. A timely reporting isn't just admin. It helps the circuit and the connection understand the overall financial health and needs across all the guilds. It helps with resource allocation. So meeting those deadlines is important for the whole system.
Okay, message received. Stay organized. Meet deadlines. What if someone hits a snag? They're looking at the 4U form, maybe Section 3 is confusing, or they have a unique situation. Is there someone they can actually call or email?
Absolutely. The guidelines provide contact details. You'll want to reach out to Yusikthuli Luthela at the Methodist Connectional Office Compliance Office. The number is 011-615-1616, and the email is compliance@mco.org.za.
That's good to know. Compliance@mco.org.za.
Definitely. Don't struggle in silence if you're unsure about something. Reach out.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about the 4U schedule, so let's broaden out slightly. Are there some general principles of like good financial governance the new committee should just always keep in mind?
Yes, and the governance checklist we mentioned earlier is really helpful here. It highlights several key things based on the church's policy on effective financial management, the PEFM.
Okay, like what?
Well, for one, if you're planning a larger expenditure, specifically anything over our $5,000, the PEFM says you need to get multiple quotes.
Ah, okay. Do your homework, get competitive prices.
Exactly. It's about being good stewards of the guild's money. Another big one is dual authorization for electronic payments, meaning more than one designated person has to approve an online payment before it goes through. It's a safety measure, prevents errors or misuse. That's also in the PEFM.
Right. Checks and balances. What else?
Monthly bank reconciliations. We talked about why they're crucial for the 4U, but honestly, it's just fundamental good practice anyway. Keep those finances accurate month by month.
And what if the guild needs to, say, sign a contract for renting a venue or something?
Any formal contract the Wesley Guild enters into needs to be signed off by the superintendent of the circuit. That ensures proper oversight from the church leadership.
Okay. Are there any absolute don'ts, things the committee should steer clear of?
Yes, a couple of important ones from the governance checklist. First, never give loans to staff members or ministers from guild funds. That's a strict no-no. Avoids potential conflicts of interest.
Got it. No loans.
And, as we touched on with penalties, make sure any assessment payments that are due to the circuit or the MCO are paid fully and on time. It's part of being financially responsible within the connection.
So it sounds like a solid framework, best practices, oversight, clear accountability. Let's tie this all back now. How does handling the money well actually help the Wesley Guild achieve its mission? Why is this finance stuff so important?
Oh, it's absolutely vital. This isn't just about bean counting. Sound financial management is the bedrock that allows the Wesley Guild to do what it's called to do, pursue its aims, contribute to the MCSA's mission.
Without it, the programs couldn't run.
Exactly. Funding activities, supporting members, engaging in community development, offering Christian service, all of that requires resources. Good financial stewardship makes it possible.
Right.
Limited or poorly managed funds really restrict the Guild's impact.
So by managing the finances diligently, the Finance Committee is, in a very real way, enabling those 4 C's for Christ to happen.
Precisely. You're directly supporting the consecration piece, you're funding activities that build comradeship, you're enabling community development projects, and you're empowering Christian service. It's all deeply interconnected. Your role is foundational.
Okay, so let's try and crystallize this for everyone listening, especially the new committee members. What are the absolute must-remember takeaways from this deep dive?
I'd say it boils down to these key things. First, manage the funds according to the rules, both the Guild's constitution and the MCSA's policies like the PEFM. Second, keep meticulous records, everything. Third, focus on that 4U schedule, fill it out accurately, submit it on time. And fourth, always stick to good governance principles, quotes, dual authorization, reconciliations, the things we discussed.
So hopefully that feeling of being maybe a bit overwhelmed at the start, hopefully this discussion has made the path feel clearer. What's the sort of aha moment we want people to have?
I think the real insight is understanding that your work on this committee, dealing with the numbers and the forms, isn't just admin. It's a direct, vital contribution to the Wesley Guild's mission. You're helping nurture young people's faith, build community, serve others. You're putting one way, one heart into action financially.
That's a powerful connection. And what's our final encouragement as they step into these roles? What should they do next?
Really, take the time to read the guidelines, especially the 4U instructions and the PEFM. Get familiar with them. And please, don't be afraid to ask questions. Use that MCO contact. Use a Kulavu Vuthela if you need help. And work together as a committee. Support each other.
Great advice. Okay, finally, as always, we like to leave our listeners with a thought to ponder, something to reflect on.
Okay, here's something to think about. Sound financial stewardship isn't just about sustainability, about keeping the Guild running smoothly today. It actually creates the foundation for growth. It enables the Guild to potentially reach more young people, expand its impact, deepen its service. So consider this. How can your careful management of finances today unlock even greater possibilities for the Wesley Guild's mission tomorrow? Your role isn't just maintenance, it's about enabling potential.